So we got a pile of stuff here today.
A lot of ink.
A lot of ink, yeah. And
I see this as a lot of ink.
you think this is a lot of ink?
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
What we're doing is just going through some of my ink collection and some of the inks that I quite like. I don't actually think I have a huge amount of ink compared to some pen collectors. But what I do have, and I don't have a huge variety of brands, but there's some that I have become very fond of. And, there's still some brands that I want to try. For instance, I haven't actually tried a lot of Pilot inks. I don't think I have any Pilot inks, which is kind of odd. But I have, had samples from different people, and they're quite nice. But so I usually keep all my inks if they come in a box, I keep them in the box. It's just easier to store them. I can just stack them on a shelf that way. There's certain inks that come, just in the bottle or whatever. And so what you see here is just a selection. And one of the things I do is I keep a notebook, and this is an endless dot leather journal that I have, and I keep a selection, sort of a catalog of my inks. So what I do is I swatch the inks with a Q-tip, and I just put a blotch down, and then I write down the information that I need. Yeah, and so I try to keep it in order, but it's gotten out of order. Like, as you add more, you run out of spaces, and so and these are just some of the ones. The way I do it, and this way I can sort of keep track of and compare inks one to another by easy. And at the end of this notebook, I keep a currently inked list. So if I ink up a pen with a new ink, I just sort of write down the ink and the pen that it's in, and I probably should add the dates. And I do a little swatch there on the side, and I give it a little rub just to see how it looks, just to figure out if it's wet or dry.
If it smudges easily?
Yeah, if it smudges easy. And it's a fun way of it's just part of the hobby. It's a good way of keeping track of what you're doing. And sometimes I do actually forget what's in a pen, so it's good to go back and look at my list and try to figure out what I've done. And, I've started trying to keep it up to date. And I'm just going to show you some of the inks that I have. I have a bunch of Noodler's inks, of course.
What are some of your favorites?
Well, we'll talk about that. This is one of the things about Noodlers is they have these really interesting labels. Like they all have sort of,
that's neat.
Kind of funny almost ink labels. They're sort of, and they have quite interesting names. For instance, this one is Noodler Eel Blue, and when you see the word eel on Noodler's inks, it means that they're lubricated for pistons and things like that.
Oh.
Or I believe that's the case. And I've tried a number of them. I have green cactus, eel blue. They have all these lovely labels. And I've tried a number of Noodlers, and I think my favorite probably is, of all the Noodler inks, is Black Swan.
Would you like to demonstrate that one?
Yeah, we will. Black Swan and English Roses. It's a lovely color. Yeah, okay.
Pretty.
Now the thing about Noodler's inks, you have to, if you buy a bottle of Noodler ink, always be careful opening it. They are literally filled right to the top. So a new bottle, sometimes if you're not careful, you're going to get it everywhere. And so I usually make sure.
Ink is made to stain.
Yeah, and this has been used. But I always put it flat, and I carefully take the lid off, and then you can dip it in. Yeah, and just do a little swatch. Yeah, just a little one like that, and it's quite a lovely. I keep hitting the tripod. It's just a lovely
shade of red.
Well, it's kind of
reddish.
A burgundy color. Yeah. Very nice. And I usually have that in a pen. I can't remember which ones. I'm going to look quickly here and see what it's what I have inked in that. So do I have it inked actually? I don't think I have anything with At the moment, I don't have the pen inked up with it.
Noodler is the most amusing name I've ever heard of.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Do you want to toss that in the garbage rather than
Yes.
sitting down? Yeah, so that's one of my favorites. I also have, you know, a large bottle of Noodler Heart of Darkness, and it's a black ink. It comes with a little medicine lid almost, where it has a little eyedropper. Strangely enough, I find it actually hard to get some pens into the bottle, so that's probably why they included the eyedropper. And when I got this bottle, at the time they were giving away a free pen in the case, in the box, in the little Charlie Noodler pen. I don't have it here at the moment, but it's in my collection.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Another one I quite like is Cinnamon. It's a really nice...
Would you like to demonstrate?
Yeah, it's also very similar to the...
Red.
Yeah, I like a lot of red inks. Want me to do it? Yeah. So I, for whatever reason, this is quite a red ink.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but a
Blood
really
red.
nice, rich color. And it's a very pretty color. And I like that one a lot, too.
It's almost a blood red.
Yeah. One of the things I discovered about myself is just how often I really enjoy red inks. I would have thought...
Reds and oranges.
Yeah, for instance, I have, Diamine Ancient Copper and Blood Orange in those types. And
another one that's a fancy one that you got is Writer's Blood.
Yeah, we'll look at that in a minute.
This is a very fancy one that you got.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's all kinds of interesting... this is a brown that I use, like from Walnut, from Noodler, that I quite like.
Really?
Walnut. It's a really nice color, I find. Yeah. Give it a good... Yeah. And so, yeah, that's kind of dark. Yeah, really beautiful, isn't it?
It's very dark.
Yeah, and I keep that...
It's a good color.
I use that quite a bit of all of my Noodlers. And I have, of course, the classic... famous Apache Sunset, and I'll take a little sample.
Ooh, that's a very nice shade of
orange.
orange.
It's kind of an orangey yellow color. And the funny thing about that was it took me a long time to find a pen that I really liked it in. I thought I would enjoy it in more pens, but I found it needed the right pen, and I believe the pen I put it in is this vintage... Yeah, I put it in this vintage Eclipse. And on the nib on this is very flexible, and it suits the... So I find with the Apache Sunset, a nib that has a bit of flex to it really, really brings out all the nice characteristics of that ink. What else do I have? I have a Lamy Blue. It's the only one I have. And I actually like that. Once again, it was a...
Oh, it's a unique shape.
It's a unique shape. It has a little dispenser on the bottom that I can't show you right here. I keep hitting it. Oh, it's hard to get it in for whatever reason. It's hard to get it out at the moment. But it has a little roll of... Well, actually, a big roll of blotting paper on the bottom. And that's typical of a lot of Lamy inks. And this is the only one I have. I bought this thinking I would like it. But it took me a while to find a pen that I really liked it in. It's not
kind of like the Apache Sunset.
Kind of like the Apache Sunset. Sometimes inks need the proper pen.
Would you like
I don't
to
know.
Demonstrate that?
Oops. The seal is still okay.
How does that work?
Oh, it just sort of clipped on somewhere. And as you know, the thing about the hobby is you get covered in ink. Oh, yeah. It's a nice dark blue.
Ooh, that's a very vibrant...
Could you get me a paper towel, please, Sam?
Yes.
Just so I'm... Stop being covered in ink here. Yeah, so that's... Oddly enough, I don't have it inked up at the moment, but I had it in a Twsb Eco for a long time. My yellow one, and it really suited that pen a lot. I have a different ink in it right now.
Almost looks like the night sky.
Yeah, I have some different Monteverde inks. They're quite nice.
Would you like to demonstrate any?
Well, I'm not going to demonstrate these. A couple different ones. These are probably my favorite, the Mandarin Orange and the Cherat. But I have Topaz and I have Moonstone. I find the Topaz relatively weak for my tastes, and so I don't use it very often. Um, I have actually I've mixed the two, have mixed these two before just to give it a darker, I've added a bit of the Mandarin Orange at times into the Topaz, and it actually, with a bit more blending inks, it actually turns out quite nice. Moonstone, and this one I hardly ever use, and sometime when my pen club is having a swap meet, I might actually take that with me and see if anybody might like it. I keep thinking I might like grayish colors, but I just haven't really found one that I'm truly in love with. And that happens. The other brands that I have quickly here, I have a couple Private Reserve. We've just recently, within the last few months, been able to get this in Charlottetown, PEI, and I quite like the Private Reserve.
Do you want to show off?
I might not show these off right now.
Oh.
It's getting a little messy, but the one I quite like actually is the Tanzanite. I have the Orange Crush. It's a nice ink. One thing I did notice about the Orange Crush, it almost seems that as it's in the pen for a long time, you get a little almost a crystallization around the nib, where the ink starts to form these little structures, almost like it gets almost crusty. So you have to wipe it off every now and then when you're, if you've left the pen sitting for a while, you have to come back, take a tissue, clean it off, and get it writing well. So that's the only complaint I have about the Orange Crush. Tanzanite is something, it's sort of a purpley blue. It kind of reminds me of an ink you used to find, say, in a cheap ballpoint pen at one point, like a Bic or something like that.
If you'd like, we can show it off.
Yeah,
there's still a bit of room.
Just a sec. Hold on. Careful. Once again, I find the Private Reserve bottles are bottles you have to be careful opening up, because they seem to, once again, be full to the very brim of the bottle. Just a sec. And it is a beautiful color. Almost a royal blue, purple
pen kind of
Yeah.
color.
Yeah, like the old Bic pens used to have a unique blue, and it's a color I really love. And I put it in probably my most outrageous pen that I own, which is this Twsb 700R.
Why would you say it's outrageous?
Well, it's if you look carefully at it, it has these amazing sort of finish on the clip, right? And on the all the metal parts.
It does.
They're almost rainbow in effect.
Colored.
Right, and as you twist it around, you get all these different color effects. But the truly interesting thing about the pen is just how beautiful the nib is, and the finish on the nib.
Quite a bit of detail on it.
Yeah, and different colors, and as you move it through, you get all these beautiful sort of colors showing up, right? And I keep the Tanzanite in it. I find it, when you're looking at the barrel, because it's a demonstrator, as it sloshes around, it makes these beautiful variations in tone and color. And so, yeah, this is the Twsb. I keep spelling Twsb with a W, with an I. There. And it's one of my fun pens. It's I just recently got it this year, and I'm a big fan of Twsb, and I have a list of Twsbs that I wish to add to my collection, and
Dad,
this one I knew was a limited edition.
Don't put the inks by the cat.
It was a limited edition pen, and there was one available at my local bookstore that sells pens, and so I picked it up, and I'm very pleased with it, and I just love sitting down and writing with it. It's a pen that you can't really post because it becomes ridiculously large and quite back heavy, and I usually like to post my pens, but I'm quite happy with this. You just hold on to the cap, and it has a nice section, and I'll do a review on this pen sometime. It's a fun little pen, and with the right ink in it, it just pops and becomes quite spectacular. What else? So I have a few cartridges, of course, different ones. I have some Lamy cartridges for. I have a couple old Gaia student pens, and the Lamy cartridge actually fits that brand. I have some Kaweco cartridges, of course, and well, my favorite. Oh, and I have this little can here from J. Herban, and they have some little cartridges in there. And as time goes by, friends have given me ink samples. This is the only two that I have left. These are both grays. I was looking for some nice grays, and a couple friends kindly gave me a sample of their gray, and I tried that out. And what else do I have? I have, of course, actually this is quite a beautiful ink right here, Emerald de Chiveur. My French is terrible. I'm so sorry, but I don't have it inked up at the moment. It's a really beautiful shimmering ink.
Do you wish to demonstrate it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna find a sample. I keep it in my book.
Oh.
And it has like it has a beautiful wax seal on it, and this here, and this has
nice.
almost a wax feel to it.
Very fine.
Very fine.
Looks
and
great.
As you can see, it has a beautiful metallic shimmer, and I haven't inked it up lately, but what I usually put it in is a Noodler's Ahab, because it has a flex nib, and it's not a pen that I'm too worried about with different tricky inks. And I wouldn't put it in an expensive pen personally, but I keep it in my, when I do ink it up, I put it in my my Noodler pen, and it's a very lovely bluish green. And as you probably need to shake the bottle up because the metallic elements have settled probably, but it gives you that lovely kind of color.
The bottle is very fancy in and of itself.
Well, that's one of the fun things about inks, and
so
you get all these.
Has like a kind of extra glass.
Yeah, and and some people, and when I empty this bottle out, I'm going to keep the bottle. I'm going to keep it in my collection, because fountain pens is, well, you think, oh, somebody's collecting fountain pens, but they are, but they're also interested in the numerous side avenues of collecting pens. It's like if you have several pens, you have a multitude of inks, and also you have different types of papers, and when you get into the inks, you find that there are all these beautiful designs and packaging, and that's
it's the nuance of the hobby.
It's the nuance of the hobby. This this is a Koyo Noto, and it's an ink a friend of mine gave me it, and it's actually one of my favorite bottles. It's just a simple classic design.
Want to demonstrate it?
And for whatever reason, I find the bottle exceptionally beautiful, and we're just going to pop that in here.
Beauty and simplicity.
Beauty and simplicity. That's it. Yes.
Simple yet nice.
I shouldn't have folded it over. And you want to just dip that in, get a good lid, just put it up there. Yeah, it's a nice sort of navy blue.
Very nice.
Very nice. Yeah.
Almost a combination between that and that.
Yeah, sometimes you see,
kind of
a lot of
similarities.
You will find lots of similarities from ink brand to ink brand.
Yeah.
They will often have things quite. Toss that in the garbage, please.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite ink overall?
Oh, well, my favorite brand, even though I don't have a huge selection of inks.
Yeah. Like your favorite brand and your favorite.
Well, of the Noodler, I'd probably go with Black Swan. right? But my favorite brand that I've been using lately, and I don't have a huge selection of ink brands, but I've become very, very attached to diamine inks. I really can't get enough of them, really.
Would you like to demonstrate one of them?
Yeah, just a second. All right, what I'm going to do is maybe just pull this over. I keep the lists here, but I don't know. It's hard to say why I like diamine so much. Actually, yeah, I keep probably they're not in any order of my lists, but so I will show you what here. This is Writer's Blood, and it's the
very fancy one that you like.
Yeah, it's the ink of the year last night from
Fancy Bob.
Yeah, they have great packaging once again. Kind of a classic shape, and they have really nice labels. Kind of fun.
Looks beautiful.
And it's a beautiful ink, and I like the name Writer's Blood. And this is the Reddit ink of the year.
Reddit,
the subgroup Reddit.
Yes.
Yeah, and they come up.
So they chose.
So they, some pen fans, got together and they designed the ink. I have Earl Grey, which is another ink of the year. I don't really, once again, grays. I am not a huge fan. For whatever reason, I keep thinking I'd love gray, but it just doesn't appeal to me. I don't know. I tend to lean towards reds and blues. This is an interesting color. It's one that I've recently picked up, and Diamine has come up with a Les Paul guitar finished inks, and this is the Honey Burst.
Would you wish to show that off?
Yeah, I will. Okay, and we're going to just open that up, and it's it's inspired by the Les Paul guitar, right? So the finish of them, and I think there are 5 altogether: Honey Burst, Cherry Sunburst, Tobacco Sunburst, Desert Burst, and Felon Blue. So this is the only one I have in that series right at the moment, but I am looking forward to trying the other ones out a lot and seeing how much I like them. The Honey Burst is I find there's a lot of variation in the color when you use it, and I keep it in this vintage Waterman that I have. That I haven't actually done any shown it yet at all in my channel, but it's a beautiful Waterman 513J, I think it is. I'll have to check my list again, but yeah, it's in a Waterman, and
it's rather dark. Demonstrated like that.
And yeah, so with this pen, it's such a wet pen, it comes down beautifully dark, and I like line variation, and it's it'll probably be different in another pen. So yeah, but I quite like it in this old vintage Waterman that I have, because it just suits the pen. Like, I'm one of those people that really enjoys matching my pens with my inks, and this combination is perfect, really. The Honeyburst and the Waterman, right? Of course, I have some. I'm not going to show you these, but I have a couple. I'm not going to do swatches of these. I have a couple different greens: Dark Forest and Sherwood Green. They're both beautiful inks, and it all depends on what pen you put in. Once again, sometimes, I write at the moment. I have the Dark Forest in a Lamy Studio, but I was trying to figure out what it was actually as I was using it, because it goes down so dark with the fine line from the studio, and I had to go back to my list and figure out what it was. And in this pen, it's very dry, but I quite like it, though. It's very nice. Yeah, so that's that. And what else do I have? Oh,
almost looks black.
Yeah. I'm gonna show you 2 of my favorite. They're very similar.
Would you want to do a swatch of
Yes,
one of
we
them?
will do a swatch of these, but yeah, these are very similar colors, but I like them. They have just enough difference in different pens that I quite enjoy them. And yeah, as you can see, I really love reds and orange inks. And this is the Blood Orange. And the interesting thing about this bottle, I forget what this,
triangular.
it was like a special anniversary, yeah, the 150th anniversary ink, as you can see, it says on the label. And they have a selection of colors, and if you buy all the colors, they
form a wheel.
They form a wheel, so you can do a color wheel of inks as you put them all out, together. They all segment together. You have a
yes, I have a swatch.
You have a swatch. Okay.
A Q-tip.
A Q-tip.
A swatch.
Yeah. And
how many of those triangles do you have?
That's
just
oddly
one?
enough, this is the only one. Yeah.
Ah.
And I keep that in different pens. I believe at the moment it's in my.
Want me to go grab more Q-tips?
I might have a few more, but it's okay. We're okay. We don't need more.
I'll just grab a couple more.
Okay. But anyway, I keep it in my pilot at the moment, I believe. And I think that's the only one I have it in. And, well, the other, probably one of my favorite inks of all is, where is it? Probably my favorite ink that if I had to pick one ink that I use almost all the time would be the Oxford Blue, the Diamine Oxford Blue. If you have to get rid of all your inks. What are you going to choose? It would be the Oxford Blue. I'm just going to show you what the ancient coppers looks like actually. I'm going backtracking a little bit. So I'm just going to show you a little sample. So yeah, it's just a little darker in some cases, but not a lot. But each of them, one of the things I like about the blood orange is as you put it down, it goes on light, but as it dries, it darkens up, and it's kind of nice watching that occur. It's just a little, it's a little thing that happens with inks. Sometimes they change color as they dry, and that's part of the fun. So Oxford Blue, yeah, this is a blue that it really appeals to me. It's almost a blue black. It's really rich. It's good in every pen that I've tried it in.
It's nearly out.
Yeah, I've tried it a lot.
Practically.
Yeah, and as you can see as you go down. So on a, in a medium nib or a broad nib, it's very dark and wet, and in a finer nib, it's a bit lighter. It's just
quite
a color.
The gradient.
Yeah, there's a gradient in it, but it's the ink that I pretty much always have in my Lamy Safari. Actually, not Lamy Safari, Lamy 2000.
That's quite a sleek pen itself.
What's that?
That itself is quite a sleek pen.
Yes, this is a nice pen. This is one of my favorite pens. It made my top 5 list.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, I keep that in my Lamy Safari pretty much all the time. So yeah, those are just as a really sort of, broad example of what I like. And I hope you've enjoyed the video. And as I gather, and collect more inks, I will, maybe make another video some other time showing different inks that I've got. Maybe I'll do inks, as I buy inks, I'll just give you a little brief introduction to the ones I pick up. It's part of the hobby that I really enjoy. It's, I've seen people with far more inks than I have and far more knowledge of inks than I have, but that's one of the great things about being in this hobby. You learn so much, you're experimenting, you keep accumulating inks. I like to, I'm just going to show you. One of the things with my journal is I keep a journal. I'm just going to show you really quickly, but I use
inks.
So I use many different inks within the book as I write, and that's part of the fun, But anyway, well, thank you for tuning in, and I hope I haven't rambled on too much, and I hope this was informative and fun. So thank you very much. And as always,
like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to support the channel and see more, and hit the notification bell if you wish to see all the new uploads.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks, Sammy. That was helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.